Well, I feel it represents a collapse feature, and that is exactly what we're looking for.
This definitely appears to be a tunnel.
So-called treasure location.
I really would like to see what's at the bottom of that shaft.
Everyone thought Oak Island was running out of secrets, but 2026 just blew that belief apart. In a moment that stunned the entire team, a previously unseen underground structure was revealed. One that doesn't match natural geology, modern construction, or anything found on the island before. This isn't another rusty artifact or broken timber. This is engineered, deliberate, and placed exactly where generations of treasure hunters were told nothing existed. For over 200 years, Oak Island has swallowed fortunes, reputations, and unanswered questions. But this discovery changes the rules, the layout, the timeline, and possibly the entire story of who was here and what they were hiding. Veteran researchers are calling it the most significant structural find since the original Money Pit. Skeptics are suddenly quiet. And for the first time in decades, the evidence is lining up in a way that can't be ignored. If you don't want to miss what this structure leads to, hit like, subscribe, and stay with us, because what comes next could finally rewrite Oak Island history. A quick look back, the mystery that won't die. Oak Island has haunted treasure hunters since the 1700s, when strange pits and layered wooden platforms were first discovered beneath the soil. The legend speaks of pirate gold, Templar artifacts, or something even more valuable, knowledge that powerful groups wanted buried forever. Rick and Marty Lagina's team has spent years attacking this mystery from every angle. They've excavated the Money Pit, explored Smith's Cove, drained the swamp, and followed underground tunnels that twist and connect in ways that defy natural explanation. Along the way, they've found 500-year-old beams, European coins, inscriptions in unknown languages, and evidence of engineering that shouldn't exist on a remote Canadian island. But there's also been the curse. The legend says 7 people must die before the treasure is found. 6 lives have already been lost over the centuries. Every new excavation carries that weight. The question of whether this time the island will finally give up its secrets or claim another victim. The 2026 season began with a shift in strategy. Rick and Marty left the heavily excavated areas and focused on a zone that had been overlooked for years, the Western Triangle. Radar had shown faint anomalies there before, but nothing concrete enough to justify a full dig. Until now. The Western Triangle, a gamble that paid off. When the team deployed high-tech ground scanners and 3D mapping technology over the Western Triangle, the results were immediate and shocking. The scans revealed a large, circular structure buried deep underground, something that looked neither natural nor recent. Rick himself admitted they'd overlooked this area for too long. "It seems like the real story begins from here," he said. A rare admission from someone who spent so much of his life chasing leads across the island. The team mobilized quickly. Within the first week of excavation, they began pulling back layers of earth that revealed exactly what the scans had promised. A human-made structure, carefully hidden and deliberately placed. This wasn't random. This was intentional. And that changes everything. Ground-penetrating radar reveals the impossible. Ground-penetrating radar doesn't lie. It sends signals deep into the earth and maps what bounces back, creating images of what's hidden below without ever breaking ground. When the team ran GPR over the Western Triangle, the shapes that appeared on the screen were unmistakable. Perfectly round, flat, organized. These were not natural rock formations. They were rooms, or at least enclosed spaces, surrounded by stone walls and topped with what appeared to be a deliberate ceiling structure. The scans also showed something else, a void, an empty space beneath the stones, protected and sealed. The kind of void you create when you're hiding something valuable. Rick and the team's scientists studied the data for hours. The depth, the dimensions, the symmetry. It all pointed to one conclusion. This was a vault, and it had been waiting here, untouched, for centuries. Rick's reaction was measured but intense. If this is what we're thinking, then we're standing right in front of the door of history. The only question left was where to dig without destroying what might be the most important discovery in Oak Island's long, obsessive search for truth. Breaking ground. The stone wall appears. For the first 12 feet, the excavation was routine. Soil, roots, small stones, nothing unusual. Then the diggers' tools hit something that stopped them cold. At first, it seemed like bedrock, but as they cleared away the dirt, what emerged was far more deliberate. A wall, made of stones that were uniform in size, carefully shaped, and arranged in a curved pattern that suggested the outer edge of a circular room. These weren't random boulders. They were placed with precision, stacked with care, and aligned in a way that only an engineer or someone with serious architectural knowledge could achieve. As the team carefully removed more earth, they uncovered a narrow passageway leading away from the wall. It looked like a tunnel or corridor, and the walls were covered in carvings, symbols, crosses, marks that resembled letters from an ancient script. Rick ran his hand along the stone. "These aren't just stones," he said quietly. "They're telling the story of a civilization." The tunnel didn't appear to be a natural cave. It was too uniform, too purposeful. It had been carved or constructed with intent, and that intent was becoming clearer with every shovelful of dirt removed. Someone had gone to extraordinary lengths to build this structure, and to keep it hidden. Rick and Marty's reaction. Silence speaks volumes. When the stone wall and tunnel entrance were fully exposed, the entire excavation site went quiet. Rick Lagina, a man who has maintained composure through years of setbacks and dead ends, stood frozen. He didn't speak. He just stared. Marty signaled the camera crew to capture everything. He knew this moment was different. This wasn't another artifact that might lead somewhere. This was a structure, an undeniable physical piece of architecture that proved human presence, planning, and secrecy. The camera crew later described the atmosphere as surreal. No one was celebrating. No one was even talking. Everyone was processing the same realization. They had just uncovered something that could redefine Oak Island's entire story. Rick's eyes were reportedly moist, though he never broke his silence. After years of digging, theorizing, and doubting, the man who bet everything on this island was standing in front of proof that he'd been right all along. "We have spent many years of our lives trying to understand this place," Rick finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. "And now it seems as if this land itself is calling us." The sealed door, the vault revealed. As the team continued clearing the tunnel, they found something that stopped everyone in their tracks once again. A sealed door. This wasn't a wooden barrier or a collapsed section of tunnel. This was a door made of stone and metal, covered in symbols, and clearly designed to keep something in or someone out. The metal showed centuries of oxidation. The stone was weathered but intact, and the symbols carved into its surface matched nothing in the modern historical record of the island. They resembled medieval European iconography, the kind associated with secret orders and religious groups. Experts examining the door estimated it hadn't been opened in hundreds of years. The design suggested knowledge of engineering techniques common in Europe during the Middle Ages, techniques that should not exist on an uninhabited island off the coast of Canada. Marty's assessment was blunt. If this is a vault, then this could be the key to the real treasure which is mentioned in every old map and document. Rick immediately ordered the site secured. No one was to touch the door until proper safety measures were in place. The team had learned the hard way that Oak Island doesn't give up its secrets easily, and sometimes it fights back. The question now was simple, but terrifying. What's on the other side of that door? Could this be a Templar vault? As soon as the sealed door was discovered, historians began connecting the dots. The symbols, the construction style, the sheer secrecy of the location, it all pointed to one possibility: the Knights Templar. The Templars were a medieval military order known for their wealth, their secrecy, and their mysterious disappearance from history. Legend says they fled Europe with treasures that included religious artifacts, ancient texts, and possibly even the Holy Grail. Some theories suggest they came to the New World long before Columbus, and that Oak Island was one of their hiding places. The cross-like symbols on the vault door were strikingly similar to those used by the Templars. The construction techniques matched European medieval architecture, and the location, remote, defensible, difficult to access, fit the profile of a Templar safe house. One historian involved in the investigation stated, "If this turns out to be the Templar vault, it will be the greatest discovery not just on Oak Island, but in the entire human civilization." It's a bold claim, but given what's been found so far, it's not an unreasonable one. New technology, new precision. Realizing the magnitude of what they'd found, Rick and Marty shifted their approach. This was no longer a treasure hunt. It was an archaeological excavation of potentially historic importance. The team brought in specialists, underground imaging experts, vibration sensors, archaeologists trained in medieval artifact preservation. Every layer of soil was removed with surgical precision. Every stone was documented before being moved. A few feet deeper, groups known for using secret codes to protect their knowledge. The tablet was immediately sent to multiple labs for analysis. Preliminary reports suggested it could be a key, a cipher or map that explains the layout of the structure or the location of what's hidden inside. Marty's reaction was cautious, but hopeful. Till now, this was just a theory, but this symbol can be the first solid evidence that we have really reached the room built by a secret society. With every passing hour, the excavation felt less like speculation and more like confirmation. Inside the vault, the camera goes down. Rather than risk damaging the door or triggering a potential trap, the team decided to use a fiber optic camera to see inside the vault first. The camera, a thin, flexible probe equipped with a lens and microphone, was carefully inserted through a small crack in the door. What it captured was breathtaking. The screen showed a small, stone-lined chamber. In one corner sat several metallic objects that gleamed even in the low light. They didn't look like tools or construction materials. They looked like artifacts, possibly gold, possibly something else of significant value. A large box-like structure was partially buried in the soil at the center of the room. Its purpose wasn't immediately clear, but its craftsmanship suggested importance. Then came the sounds. The microphone picked up a faint, continuous hum, a low vibration that seemed to come from deep within the earth. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't animal. It was something else entirely. Marty's response was immediate. This is not an ordinary vault. Something is active inside the ground. The team also began to feel mild vibrations through the ground itself, as if an ancient mechanism or structure was still functioning below. Rick and Marty exchanged a glance. They both understood what this meant. The vault might be more than just a hiding place. It could be protected by a security system or even a trap designed to activate if disturbed. Emergency: toxic gas and radiation detected. Just as the team was preparing to proceed, one of the workers shouted a warning. "There's a smell of something burning here." Work stopped immediately. A light, smoky gas began rising from the excavation site. The team donned safety gear and activated emergency gas detectors. Within seconds, the alarms went off. Toxic gas was present. The levels weren't immediately lethal, but prolonged exposure could be dangerous. Then came an even more alarming reading: low-level radiation near the entrance to the vault. It wasn't enough to cause immediate harm, but it was there, possibly from a metallic reaction or from ancient sealed materials that had been buried for centuries. An archaeologist on site explained that it's not uncommon for old vaults to contain mercury or other hazardous substances, either as preservatives or as part of deliberate defense mechanisms. Rick made the call without hesitation. The work should be stopped right now, and experts should be called. This thing is now beyond our scope. The excavation site was immediately sealed. A medical team was brought in to check everyone for exposure. The area was cordoned off, pending a full environmental assessment. Marty's face was grim. If this is some ancient defense mechanism, then perhaps this vault is still active. The search for treasure had just become a life-or-death situation. Leaked footage goes viral. Within hours of the site being sealed, footage from the fiber optic camera leaked online. No one knows exactly how it got out, whether from a crew member, a contractor, or a hacker. But once it hit the internet, it exploded. The video showed the gleaming objects inside the vault, the mysterious symbols on the walls, and the eerie hum captured by the microphone. Platforms like Reddit, YouTube, and Twitter were flooded with reactions. Theories poured in from every corner of the internet. This is the Holy Grail. It's alien technology hidden by ancient civilizations. The symbols match Freemason codes. This is a Templar vault. Radioactive signals. This could be ancient energy storage. Channels racked up millions of views with titles like Oak Island Treasure Finally Found and The Lost Vault of the Templars. The Legend brothers issued no official statement, which only fueled speculation. The mystery of Oak Island, already a cultural phenomenon, had now become a global obsession. The curse of Oak Island. Has it been broken? One of the darkest legends surrounding Oak Island is the curse. 7 must die before the treasure is found. So far, 6 people have died over the centuries in connection with the island's excavations. Some from gas exposure, some from cave-ins, one from a machinery accident. The Laguna team has always treated these as tragic accidents, but believers in the curse see a pattern. When news broke that a worker had fainted from gas exposure and been hospitalized, the internet erupted with speculation. Was this the 7th death? Some claimed that if the worker survived, the curse remained unbroken. Others argued that the near-death experience counted, and the vault was now free to be opened. Rick has spoken about the curse before, though he's never fully dismissed it. There is something at this place that is beyond science, he said. Something that has always stopped the diggers. Now, standing on the edge of the vault, with gas, radiation, and vibrations all detected, the team faces a question that goes beyond archaeology or treasure hunting. Is Oak Island's curse real? And if so, what happens if they open that door? Government involvement. The excavation under scrutiny. The discovery didn't stay private for long. Once reports of radiation, toxic gas, and unusual environmental activity reached the Canadian authorities, the government stepped in. Officials from the Nova Scotia provincial government and federal agencies arrived at Oak Island to inspect the site. Their report cited unusual environmental activities and potentially dangerous elements beneath the ground. The government made it clear further excavation would require special permits, environmental clearances, and oversight by scientists and security agencies. News of potential government intervention sent shockwaves through the Oak Island community. Fans flooded social media with concerns that if the government sealed the site, the truth might never be revealed. Rick and Marty were forced into discussions with officials. What had begun as a private excavation on private land had now entered the realm of public policy, national heritage, and safety regulations. The biggest fear among supporters, that after coming so close to the truth, the search would be stopped. Again, Marty's statement. This is just the beginning. When Marty Lagina finally spoke to the media, his statement was short but powerful. What we have seen is just the beginning. His face was serious, but his eyes held the unmistakable gleam of someone who has glimpsed something extraordinary. He made it clear that the fiber optic camera had only shown one corner of the vault. The full truth would only be revealed when the team could safely enter. "We thought that the excavation of Oak Island was in its final stage," Marty said, "but now it seems as if the real journey is just beginning." Rick's statement was even more cryptic. He spoke just one line, calmly and deliberately. "Whatever will be found now will change everything." He didn't elaborate. He didn't explain what kind of change he meant. But the gravity in his voice suggested he wasn't talking about gold or treasure. He was talking about something bigger, something that could rewrite history. What's next? The cliffhanger no one saw coming. The excavation is paused, but it's far from over. Behind the scenes, the team is working on a new plan. They're conducting more detailed scans of the area around the vault to detect additional tunnels, traps, or hidden chambers. New magnetic field readings have been detected just below the vault, suggesting there may be even more layers to this mystery than anyone anticipated. The team is also considering a lateral approach, opening the vault from the side rather than the top, to minimize risk and avoid triggering any remaining defenses. But all eyes are now on the next episode. The questions are overwhelming. Will the vault finally be opened? What's inside that gleaming box? Are the symbols a map, a warning, or a key? Is this the Templar treasure, the Holy Grail, or something no one has even imagined? Rick's only answer when pressed: let the right time come. And that's where we are, on the edge of what could be the greatest archaeological discovery of the century, waiting for the next move. The vault no one could open. Until now, for over 200 years, Oak Island has guarded its secrets. Generations of treasure hunters have tried and failed. Fortunes have been spent. Lives have been lost. Theories have been built and shattered. But in 2026, something has changed. The vault that no one could find is now within reach. The structure that was hidden by secret societies, protected by gas and symbols and curses, is just a step away from being opened. But what's inside? Treasure? The Holy Grail? Ancient knowledge? Or something humanity was never meant to discover? The answer is coming. And when it does, it could change everything we thought we knew about Oak Island, the Templars, and the history of the New World. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next update, because what happens next will rewrite history.